take my drink out of the plastic, Tito. You know that I can't do anything on my own. I can't do manual labor. Wow, that is really sweet. Ooh! By the way, this episode is not sponsored by Estelle. I really wish it was. This episode is actually sponsored by my own brand. Guys, come on, it's my birthday episode. Y'all can excuse me and my tomfoolery on my birthday episode. Okay, come on. Guys, check out these nails. And y'all already know, like, I don't go nowhere without my fucking lashes. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. Sometimes I be looking a bum and I don't wear makeup on. But I look cute today. Wait, this is not, hold on, let me put this down. See? For those of you watching me on YouTube, I look cute today. I got my lashes on, my nails. Check out these. Yeah. Licensed baddie. I'm so stupid. I should have brought the physical products because obviously I have them with me at home. I'm bootstrapping this business like from a fucking bedroom, you guys. Actually, no, we moved out to the living room. But you know what I mean. I was supposed to bring the items. I was supposed to bring some of the products today and like put them around here, but I'm a fucking dumbass and I forgot to bring them. So insert photos. And I think by now, hopefully by this episode, you're able to shop on our YouTube. So we have like this store thing going on. Y'all can buy LB products from the Indah G shows, YouTube videos, YouTube store thingy. I'm not really sure how it works. I don't know. The people from YouTube reached out to me and they offered me like to help me get this shit set up. So place an order. Otherwise, y'all can go on Shopee. And I promise every time y'all place an order from LB as of right now and probably for the next like I want to say 1 to 2 years of me doing this without any VC funding. Every time y'all place an order, every single product is touched by me. I touch them. Because I'm the one packing them. That or it's my mom. So either way, like you get essence of Indah G and Mama G on these products that you place an order on. So the best way for you to wish me happy birthday is to just simply support my business. It's the best way to support Tito as well because if I don't got money, you're not getting paid, boy. By the way, if you're a straight man and you're watching this and you're like, girl, I don't need no fucking lashes and nails. Okay, but your mama probably do. Your sister probably does. Your girlfriend, fiance, wife. And I don't know, maybe you're gay. This is 28 lessons in 28 years. And I intend for this to be under 28 minutes, like the video, not the recording, obviously, because when have we ever recorded less than 30 minutes? So fucking never. But I don't think this video is going to be under 28 minutes, if I'm going to be honest, because I can't stop yapping. It's okay. We can pretend that this is 28 minutes. We can also pretend that there's 28 things, 28 lessons on the list, when in reality, I actually only have 25. Lesson number 1, the line between confidence and delusion is so fine. And if you can be confident in lying, you can get away with everything. That's the first lesson. So we're just going to, the video is going to say 28 lessons, but in actuality, it's 25. But you're going to be okay with it because I'm admitting it to you up front. I'm disclaiming it to you up front, and I'm being confident with it. That's actually a real life lesson that I've learned. Probably one of my most important life lessons. Funny enough, is that you can get away with anything in life just so long as you're confident. Yang penting pede. Yeah. Aku pede-pede ngomong ini video 28 lessons padahal cuma 25. Tapi gak apa-apa karena pede. No, because I can't think of 28 lessons, bro. That's so much. And clearly I don't learn a lot, so. But lesson number 2, don't rush starting a business, but don't wait for it to be perfect either. You kind of want to strive like in that in between where it's like, it's not perfect, but it's good enough and you feel ready. I think the most important is just that you feel like you are ready, like to the best of your abilities to gauge your feelings, that you feel like you are ready. Because I knew at that time I was not ready, but my mom kept pushing me and pressuring me. So yeah, the behind the scenes story about LB that a lot of people do not know is actually that when LB first launched as a brand back in, when was that, like 2023, like February, yeah, Valentine's Day 2023. I was not prepared at all, and in large part why we decided to launch anyway was actually because like I had a lot of pressure from my mom, because my mom wanted me to get a move on because she was like, I don't know, I think part of it is that she's like, yeah, you're getting old, even though I was 23. And in hindsight, like that's probably one of the things that I really regretted when it comes to my journey with, launching my startup. Lesson number, where are we? We're on number 3. One of life's most bitter pills to swallow is that if you want your opinions to matter, then you need to have money. If you want to change policy, you need to have money. If you want to, in this country, you want to join politics, you need to have money. If you want to change the world, you need to have money. And it's, you can change the world for the better or for the worse, like worse being an example, Elon Musk. But see, he gets to do that. He gets to change the world for the worse because he has a shit ton of money. And so point being, it's like, if you want to create actual change, positive or negative, preferably it's positive, you need to have money. And your opinions only matter if you have money. Nobody listens to poor people. Nobody gives a shit about your opinions if you're fucking broke. So, part of the motivation with LB is also, and people might argue, like, I mean, Indah, you already come from a rich family. Your mom's already loaded. And it's like, yeah, no, that's true, right? But it's like, God, I know this is going to get me looks, but you could always be richer. That makes me sound so greedy. I'm not, it's not a greed thing, right? But it's more so, again, if, and I don't know, maybe this is just wishful thinking of like one day getting to become somebody to actually use my influence and power to do something good for the world. But I mean, I guess a girl can dream. And the point that I'm trying to make is just that, why it's so important for me to juggle both what I'm doing now, like what y'all know me for, what most people know me for, which is, political commentary, influence, / I guess a bit of activism, but through social media, needs to happen in tandem with building LB, is because, simply put, a bitch needs money. And if I don't got money, y'all not gonna listen to me. Well, maybe you guys will listen to me, but most people won't listen to me. Intinya harus jadi orang kaya. That's so depressing. 5th lesson, we're on number 5. Moving quick here. This is a more practical advice, and this is for all of you that deal with data storage. Me and Tito, we had to learn this the hard way. Get an SSD, not an HDD. Get an SSD, which stands for solid state drive, and not an HDD, which stands for a hard disk or drive, right? Because that was what happened to us earlier this year, where basically I dropped my hard disk, which wasn't the first time. Like, I've dropped that hard disk before and she was fine, but that day she decided that was going to be her last drop. And basically a bunch of files got deleted and I went through a whole thing. I cried. I've learned something about myself, that I am not a sentimental person. Like, aku orangnya tuh gak gampang nangis. Like, aku gak orang yang gak gampang terharu kayak gitu. But when I'm stressed out, I cry very, very easily because, and it was bad. Long story short, we're fine now. There's 2 episodes that basically one of them, the footages are safe. I just have to re-edit it again. And then the other one, it's the one with Young Lex. That one's completely gone, you guys. So I'm going to have to retake it with Young Lex. We're going to go to his house. He lives in Pondok Indah. He's nearby. So, yeah, I'm like waiting to schedule with a retake with Young Lex. Number 6, when you're in a room filled with people you just don't vibe with, yang kamu nggak sefrekuensi, but you have to be there Like, it's not an option for you to just walk out. Like, you have to be there. Don't force it. Honestly, just shut up and be pretty. And you'll be fine. You know? Because, I don't know, I'm the type of personality, like, I like to talk and I want to talk to people. I want to connect with people. The thing is, obviously, like, we don't always get along well with everybody. Kita nggak selalu sefrekuensi sama semua orang kan. And in the past, like, I would try to, I guess, force it. I also used to have a really bad habit of, like, let's say, for example, like, I'm at a dinner. There's, like, a whole, like, bunch of these people at that dinner. They're talking, for example, they're gossiping or they're talking about travel plans or something that I'm not interested in. Because the thing with me is that I'm very, kayak kepribadiannya aku tuh, I like what I like and I only like what I like. You know, so especially in terms of, like, conversation topics, like, for example, I like talking about politics. I like analyzing things. I like talking about philosophy. I like all of these, I don't like saying this, but quote unquote, like, more big intellectual deep topics, right? That sometimes, like, that doesn't happen during dinner. Usually sometimes, like, I'm with a group of, like, other chindos in, like, having dinner in Senopati and they're talking about, fucking Prada came out with a new coffee shop, you know? And I don't give a shit about that, right? And in the past, like, I had this really bad habit of every time I'm in that situation, I would be like, for example, someone's talking, kayak, iya, Prada baru keluar. Prada atau siapa sih? Aku lupa. There's, like, this one luxury brand. They came out with a coffee shop. Misalnya Prada. Iya, ini Prada baru keluar coffee shop, blah, 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 blah. So I would be like, okay, yeah, that's great. But anyways, did you guys know? And I would just forcibly grab the wheel and change the conversation into something that I like and that I think is interesting and quote unquote, like, in my perspective, worth talking about. But obviously not everybody's on the same page and it would be really awkward. And I've had friends kind of, like, tell me, like, yeah, Indah, maybe you shouldn't do that. Like, yeah, we understand that you're not interested in all of these topics that, in your opinion, seem shallow and superficial. But that's just, you just gotta learn to deal with it and not be a bitch about it. And you could always just not say anything and just listen. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, I could. So now, in those types of situations, instead of forcing it and forcing the conversation to go my way, I just shut up and I look pretty. And when you shut up and you just focus on looking pretty, people think that that's you being cool. And they actually think you're cool. And so it's a win-win. I don't gotta exert energy to force myself into a conversation where I probably just don't belong. And you think I'm cool because I'm just sitting there looking pretty. So yeah, you know? And again, this is for when, like, I literally, like, sometimes I don't have a choice. I have to be there, you know? It's too late. I can't back out now. Yeah. Okay, we're on number 6. Card games. My 2 favorites are Uno and We're Not Really Strangers. Invest in card games. Card games are the best way to bond with people. You know what I think? I noticed that Indonesians, whenever especially young Indonesians, like, we want to socialize. So our idea of socializing is, like, to go to a bar or a cafe. So if you're at a cafe, ngopi bareng. You know, you go to a bar, minum alcohol bareng. Especially I see this with men, kayak merokok bareng. You know, and it's like, and I'm not saying that those are horrible things. Like, that's not at all what I'm saying, right? But it's like, what am I saying? I'm saying that you can bring your bonding session to the next level by throwing in a card game. I'm planning a meet and greet. I'm gonna do a joint one with Buzzer from the Based Indonesian show, probably sometime in May. And that's going to be the bulk of the activities. It's just us all playing Uno and We're Not Really Strangers together. Because believe me, that shit's fun. Anyways, number 7. 7 kan? Body image issues are forever. you don't ever get over body image issues, unfortunately. And I guess that's just what you got to deal with. Because I'm 27, turning 28. I'm 28 by the time y'all watch this, because this is going up on my birthday. I've been dealing with body image issues ever since I hit, I want to say like 11. I remember many moments throughout my youth up until college thinking that one day I'm going to stop having body image issues and I'm finally going to be confident in my body, like just like 24/7 and feel good in it 24/7. And I'm going to stop having all these body image issues. And, you know, I'm going to stop wanting to do things like mesolipo injections, like fat injections. You know, you can get injections to burn your fat. Yeah, okay. And wanting to, I don't know, like do Botox, even though Botox is the face, but that's also part of body image issues, I guess. Well, face image issues. And, you know, I just remember times thinking that, you know, one day this is all going to end. And unfortunately, I feel like at the age of 28, I am able to say that I don't think it ever really stops. Because I've also talked to women in their 40s, 50s, 60s even, like, and body image issues are still, like, it's still of a concern. Like, you're just constantly, maybe not constantly, right? Like every single waking moment, like you're just dissatisfied with like how your body looks. But as in to say, like you'll go through moments where you go through episodes where you just, it's the same old habits again of like, you know, pinching your fat in front of the mirror and, or I don't know, like arching your back in a certain way so that your ass looks bigger, or pushing your boobs together. I wonder what I'd look like with a boob job, thinking that you really want to get a boob job and then backpedaling on that because you realize that a boob job is a very heavy and expensive commitment. It just never stops, you know? Like you go through all of these episodes cyclically of just, I'm okay with my body and then I hate my body again and then I'm okay and then I hate it again. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. How do I deal with it? I talk that shit out. Like every time I catch myself thinking like for example, today, like I was in the middle of boxing and I was just staring at my arms a little bit too much because I'm insecure about my arms. My arms are really fat. And you know, I was telling my friend Daniel, who's my boxing trainer, I was like, I'm thinking about getting those mesolipo shots, like those fat burning injections. And he's like, and he just looked at me. He's like, bro, come on. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Gak usah lah. And it just repeats over and over and over again. And that's just how you deal with it. What number are we on? 8? Number 8. Take your fucking antidepressants. Just shut the fuck up. Go to psychiatry. Tell them you are depressed, because most people are. You cannot convince me in this day and age and with this socio-political and economic climate that we are in that most people are not some flavor of depression. Most of us have depression, and that's why you can't focus, you can't sleep, you don't have the motivation to do anything, you don't enjoy anything anymore, you can barely process your words and your thoughts coherently. Just shut the fuck up. Go to psychiatry. Tell them, I'm probably depressed. Obviously consult with your doctors to make sure that it's the right course of treatment for you. And if it is, you will know, because the antidepressants are going to kick in like what, 3-4 days. That's in my experience though. Like I'm just saying, in my experience. So I have depression. Like clinically I have depression. Like they scanned my brain, they were like, yeah, you're depressed. I'm like, I know, I've been knowing that since I was like in the 3rd grade, wanting to kill myself. But for the most part I manage it well on my own. So I don't need to go to therapy all the time. I don't need to go to psychiatry all the time. But every once in a while I start dropping. And how do I know that I start dropping? It's because, like I said, I can't focus. And the biggest sign is when I start having issues articulating, because my brain doesn't work. My brain is all fogged up, and I start not being able to articulate myself as well as I normally do, as well as I am doing right now. So when that happens, I need to catch myself, and I'm like, okay, antidepressants, 3 days to 4 days kicks in. I feel good. I function just as normal, you know? So, and I understand here in Indonesia, this topic is still so taboo. Taking antidepressants is still so taboo. Shut up. Shut up. Like, fuck, like, you need to function. You need to function. You're also probably poor and you're broke. Like, you don't have the luxury of worrying about stigma and fucking, like, you know, being ashamed because, oh my God, I'm taking antidepressants. Oh my God, I'm so weak. Just shut up. Take your fucking antidepressants so that you can function, make money, and survive. Okay? That was a lot. I'm so sorry. Is it covered by BPJS? Coba cek.
Oh yeah, it's covered.
It's covered by BPJS. Yeah. So you really don't got no fucking excuse, boy. Because you got government health care. Go into that clinic, ask for antidepressants. They will give it to you. They will. And I know your ass is depressed. I wish people could just stop making mental health into a big deal. Like, that's the hurdle that I've crossed over with my mom. Well, my mom has always been a lot more understanding. And I'm grateful about that, right? Because I know a lot of Chindo parents that are not at all patient and understanding and compassionate when it comes to mental health. And at least with my mom, it's not that bad. But she kept making it my fault. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is because you're weak and you're, you know, whatever, and like you can't manage yourself on your own. And like she turns it into a competition of her being better than me because she's so much stronger than me, and you know, all that type of shit. And for a while, she would, kaya try to make me go without my antidepressants. Because she overthink it. She's like, what if you get it? What if you get an addiction? What if people find out and they think you're weak? And what if you know this and that? I'm like, itu urusan belakangan. Just, oh my God, give me my fucking medicine so I can function. Holy shit. We're on 9? Okay. This is something that I remember from my episode that I did with Firu and Adit. And it's something that Adit said. And it's on the topic of perspective taking and how, honestly, guys, the lesson is just that perspective taking is so important. Dan satu-satunya cara untuk mendapatkan banyak perspektif itu ya banyakin teman. Up, down, left, right. Because I know I pull in a lot of like privileged people listening to this show. This is definitely something that I can relate to in my experience, where it's like, when you're so high up on your ivory tower, come down once in a while. Touch grass and merakyat, you know? Be friends with poor people. Like me, I'm friends with Tito and he's poor. Talking to a mas starling. Gaining perspective. Learning bahasa Madura. How do you say thank you again? Mator sklangkong. Yeah. And ya satu-satunya cara banyakin teman-teman yang beragam, sama banyak ngobrol sama orang, udah sih itu aja. Very important, especially for I think certain personality types that struggle with empathy like me. And the key word is struggling with empathy, not devoid of empathy, right? I have empathy, like my empathy function works. It's just, I think, to be honest, I have less of it compared to average people. Sometimes, yeah. See, I know he's telling the truth. Now, I've been reflecting on that for like a good while too. Of just like, I know I have empathy, but I struggle with it compared to most people, and I feel like so much of it is just because it comes with certain personality types like mine, right? Of like, I'm very, I think the biggest one is that I am a very analytical person. I love to analyze things, and I like things that make sense to, and making sense, I guess that's subjective, but it makes sense to me, right? And something about people with my type of personality is that we're so used to being right that sometimes it's hard for us to see when we are wrong. And something about my personality type too is that I think one red flag that I have, like one toxic trait that I have, is that I know something that I either do or say is going to be hurtful to some people, is going to hurt people's feelings and or make them feel bad about themselves, but I still choose to do it anyway. You know? So much of empathy is also like, even if I don't naturally feel empathy, but I think what I'm trying to say is empathy is a choice. you can choose to be empathetic, because sometimes like I do admit that I choose not to be empathetic, and I don't true to me lacking empathy, I guess I don't feel too much remorse. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't feel too much remorse. It's just that I know factually that that's a bad thing. Like, I'm good at cognitive empathy. Like, I know that something is, for example, sad, but I don't feel sad. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that. So at least cognitively, I know it. So that's good. That's still my saving grace. And so that's just like, something that I'm like working on. And empathy and perspective taking is the key to empathy, right? So for me, it's just important that I meluaskan horizon. How do you say? Wancana? Wawasan. Thank you. Wancana. What is wancana?
No, I don't know.
Oh, there's gak ada ya. I'm making up words.
Bencana, but no.
Oh, bencana means natural disaster. Yeah. I'm making up words now. Sorry. And I think reading fiction. I'm so used to reading nonfiction now. Ever since I turned 17, I haven't read fiction since I was, I think, 15 or 16. I feel like I should go back to reading fiction. So I know fiction helps with empathy. Oh, and you know what? Speaking of banyakin teman, be friends with people that are older than you. I'm hanging out with people a lot older than me, and that's a good thing, because they're not only, I don't believe that just because you're older than me, you're smarter than me. Not even necessarily that you are wiser than me, but you've definitely experienced more. And with experience comes perspective, and with perspective, there's always something that you can learn from. Next! Norella, 9. 10. Be childlike, but not childish. Ngerti nggak? Be childlike in the sense of, and this is something, you know what, where I got this from was after we filmed with Kizzy. And I don't know if her episode is coming out after this one. So there's going to be an episode with my friend Kizzy, one of my good friends, and she has a baby that I think by now is like 5 or 6 months old. Gigantic fucking baby. And it's the way that I look at little children, babies especially sometimes, and like everything to them is like, wow. And they're open to everything, right? Like, as in to say, they take inspiration from everything. They're so awestruck by everything. And I think it's also what we subconsciously, even if we don't realize it, what we like about babies is that they have fresh, untainted perspective on things. It's the wild imagination, but they look at the world so differently than us, and so open and so willing to engage with the world. And that is very inspiring, And I'm like, okay, we should strive to be more childlike in the sense of like, we need to be open to the wonders of the world, because within reason, there is wonder and inspiration and awe that can be extracted from almost everything. And so you want to be childlike in that sense, but you don't want to be childish, like immature, fucking, I want to see the world through the lens of a child, but I don't want to think like a child. Yeah. Number 11. Life is so much better when you focus on how you can be of service to others instead of always thinking about yourself. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But I will say, as somebody who's always been more programmed to be more individualistic, and I wouldn't say that I'm a selfish person. I don't believe that I am selfish, but I've always been raised, part of it is also because I'm the only child, right? But I've always been programmed to be more individualistic and put myself first. Not to say that I put myself as like the only priority, but I put myself first and then everybody else is a priority. But And that's fine. Like here's the thing, like the nuance is there are times and situations you find yourself in where you have to put yourself first, right? That's the whole notion of self-care. Like you got to take care of yourself first before you take care of everybody else. But I feel like what I'm starting to realize is that self-care is meant to be like ibaratnya, like the metaphor would be your occasional dessert. It's a treat for every once in a while, but the default to living a fulfilling life is to focus on how you can be of service to others. But you need to walk that tightrope where, yes, you want to be of service to others, but don't be of so much service and be so service focused that you become like a grandma from Encanto, like where basically it's like it's everybody else and you put yourself last, right? So you want to, and life, I feel, because again, I've talked to people in their 40s, 50s, and like, you still don't figure out like what's that balance sometimes, like sometimes you go overboard too much on one side. But life is just all about constantly finding that balance, right? Of like, yes, living a life that is focused on how do you give back to your community? How do you be of service to community and your friends and your family? But also taking care of yourself, but not doing either one of those too much. Because I have a potentially unpopular political opinion, well, social political opinion. I feel like part of the reason why Gen Zs and the younger generation, we struggle so much with mental ailments like depression and anxiety and apathy. Apathy is also something very thematic to our generation, the younger generation current, is because simultaneously as a generation, we are the individualistic generation. Like as a generation, we're a lot more self-focused. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, right? But it's like humans are, at the end of the day, social creatures, and we need to feel connection with others. And one of the best ways to feel connected to others is when you try to be of service to others. Ya kan? So it's like we just think about ourselves, and it's all about me, 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 me. And again, sometimes like that, it calls for that. But if that's how you think every single day, then yeah, of course you don't feel connected to the world. You don't feel connected to the people around you. And you just feel this void constantly. And that's probably the depression. Somebody, I forgot who said this, but somebody said if you are depressed, obviously, go to therapy, take your medication, like all the things that I do. But also, stop thinking about yourself so much. Like sometimes, like when I'm really depressed and I'm really like in that, I'm really sulking, about myself and my life. Like, yeah, it's about me, myself, my life. I'm too in my own head about myself. I focus too much on myself that it spirals down into something that is unproductive. But I remember there was a time last year where I was in the middle of an episode, but one of my best friends, her boyfriend at that time, hit me up and he wanted me to help with the proposal. And that snapped me out of it. All of a sudden, it's like, jadi semangat lagi kayak gitu, So I was like, yeah, wow. We're number 12. We're number 12. Okay, invest as much time and money into understanding yourself as much as possible because data is power. And I understand that this doesn't apply to everybody. This doesn't apply if you're poor and piss broke like Tito in the back who doesn't have a lot of money to spend on things like a DNA test. So, sorry. But to those to whom this applies, if you have 5, 7, 10 million in the bank account, put that towards something more productive into understanding your body, like a DNA test. I swear this is not sponsored by Knowledge Genetics, but it's just because I've worked with Knowledge Genetics in the past, and truly, like when I tell you that, and by the way, I've worked with them in the past and they've given me free tests, but on top of my free tests, I paid for more tests to better understand my body, why my body's the way that it is, why I'm the way that I am, everything from like, why is it so hard for me to lose weight? Why can't I sleep? why is my skin so sensitive? Like, so much of that you can get information about from, for example, like a DNA test. That's the one that I did with Knowledge Genetics. And the information that it gives about you, like I got my DNA test and then I just used that information to optimize my life. And like now I wouldn't say I'm in a perfect place, but I'm in a much better place. Next, above all else, the most important thing is that you have good character. And I know that sounds like a very generic life lesson, but what I mean is, I feel like we live, especially in capitalism has something to do with this, where living in capitalistic societies, like, people, the expectation is be smart, be talented, be rich, have an extension of being smart, have good grades, have awards, like all these tangible measures of output are things that are venerated typically in capitalistic societies. By the way, I'm pro-capitalism, so don't all of a sudden say that because I'm saying this that I'm not pro-capitalism. That's not my point. Lock in. That's not my point. This is where it relates to me, right? I'm somebody that I pride myself for being. I wouldn't say that I'm the most intelligent, by far, no. I wouldn't say that I'm that smart either, but I do have a modicum of intelligence that I am proud of, right? But, and in certain circles, depending on who you ask, like people do attest to that. Like, yeah, like Indah's very smart and she's intelligent and she's well-rounded and she, punya banyak informasi lah. Or punya banyak pengetahuan lah. I mean, some people have said that about me. I kind of disagree. But, and all that's nice. And I do pride myself of having some modicum of intelligence. But what's more important than being smart is being of good character. But what does it mean to be of good character? I think above all, and this is something that I need to work on, is kindness, which is related to empathy. And I think I'm a kind person. And again, like I have empathy, right? It's just I think I think I have less of it than others, and that's something that I want to work on more. What else? What else is good character? I think integrity, honesty. Oh, for sure. Honesty. Living in integrity to your values and your principle. Courage. Yeah. Being brave. What else? What's good character? Discipline. People might disagree with me, but I feel, and look, I understand this might be a little bit controversial, but some cultures teach discipline better than other cultures, and so maybe that's where it gets a little bit debatable, right? Whether or not discipline is a quality of having good character. But I guess to me it is, and I think it's having discipline, the ability to follow through on your word and your promises. I'd say temperance. This is something Raditya Dika mentioned, right? Temperance itu maksudnya tahu cukup gitu loh. Self-awareness, the ability to retrospect, and the ability to introspect, and the ability to take accountability. And yeah, see, all these things that you can't really measure, but it's that at the end of the day, people stick for my character and not what I can offer. And I do genuinely believe that for the most part. Barring of certain people, because some people are just fucking materialistic and they just want shit out of me. Number 15? This is something that I got from my friend Gita Sharir. Shout out to Gita Sharir. She's been on an episode. I'll insert the episode over here. As I'm sure all of you are aware, we are kind of going through an economic shit show globally at the moment because a certain American incumbent has decided to ignite a fucking trade war. I have been going through it, to say the least. And I went through a moment where I was freaking out, as I'm sure most people were. And I was talking to Gita about it, and she told me, this is the lesson, freaking out over something that we can't change won't help anything, but thinking long term and planning damage control can. And that really brought me down to planet Earth and just grounded me, centered me. And I was like, oh, you're right. You're right. Because I was freaking out. Over what Donald Trump did. But I was like, no, she's right. There's very little that we can do about the current social, political, and economic state of the world. But what little we can do is to just prepare, think long term. And look, I understand, for example, like this is probably going to fall on deaf ears if you're somebody like Tito. Like, again, I understand, like, this isn't applicable to everybody. To whom this is applicable, start putting your money into gold. Diversify that fucking portfolio, bitch. Put your money into gold. If you do not know how to do that, actually, I should make a video on how to do that because I know how to do that. Me and my mom are doing that right now. But it's Bank Syariah Indonesia. BSI. And, you know, everybody has different strategies. I'm not saying don't hold on to cash, but right now, especially because for those of you that hold Indonesian rupiah mostly, so if you're Indonesian or you're based here and you hold mostly rupiah is shit right now, man. So I don't know how I feel about holding rupiah cash, but definitely, I mean, put your shit into US dollars, and that's assuming if the US dollar is still even fucking stable. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Okay, I'm starting to freak out again. Okay, wait, no, don't freak out. Do not check your stock portfolio. Oh my God, do not check your stock portfolio. I haven't opened my stock portfolio in like months. Play the long game. Buy the dip. Fuck what all these other people are saying on social media. Buy the fucking dip. And you know what? I saw a video the other day and I'm not sure how credible this is. That's why I'm kind of wary of sharing it. But basically a bunch of people in the United States, I want to say government or like big tech people or, you know, whatever, like a group of people, they made so much money off of this whole trade war thing that Donald Trump is doing, and like the stock market fucking crashing. They bought a shit ton of it while it crashed. And then the other day, the stock market, the S&P 500, and Dow Jones just fucking skyrocketed, and they like made like 22 million in profit or some shit like that. Buy the fucking dip, okay? Buy the fucking dip and then just leave it. Don't check your stock portfolio, okay? We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine unless you're poor like Tito, and so like that's gonna be really hard. I'm so sorry. You're born into poverty. I'm so sorry. No, see, this sounds so mean to say, and like it's obviously like inappropriate, but at the same time, like it's just what it is. And like, you know, I talk to all my other friends right now. Girl, I'm so grateful. I know it's unfair, but I'm so fucking grateful that I have some like modicum of financial security, because for people like, yeah, you and like other people, for example, I can't name names, but I've talked to y'all. I pray for you every day, man. I'll be talking to my ancestors. I'm like, ooh, ancestors, like, look out for these people, because I got enough. You know, I'll be fine. But, Tito, I don't know about you. I worry about you sometimes, man. That's why I buy you food for free sometimes, because I'm like, will this boy eat? Oh, it sucks. And I can't do anything about it. And it makes me so angry. It's like, it's so unfair. Like, it's so unfair. But shit, what can I do, right? Like, what can you do? What can any of us do? I can buy you food sometimes, but you know, whatever. Don't think about it. Oh my God, no. Yeah, don't think about it. 17. I've kind of mentioned this already, but empathy is a choice, and you know what else is a choice? Faith is a choice. Yeah, no, I'm agnostic, right? You know, even though I come from a Buddhist Confucianist family background, but I'm for the most part agnostic. I question how long I can keep that up. I'm going to be so honest. I question how long I can keep that up. And you do. I don't know how many people younger than me are listening to this right now, but trust me, you get to a point in life, like you get to an age, I think it comes with age. The hubris of youth that enables you to be so certain, as I once was, that the world operates purely off of tangible scientific logic and evidence-based science, and that God and angels and spirits are irrelevant and most likely untrue. That hubris dissipates. But by the time you experience shit, once you start experiencing shit, and that shit usually comes with age. I guess what I'm trying to say, awkwardly, what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to be more open to spirituality. I'm trying to explore spirituality more. To be honest, how is that going? It's not. I barely put any effort into it. So I feel like I should start today. But it's hard, man. Like, I don't know. I think certain personalities and certain brains are just wired in a certain way. Like I like things that make sense. I like things that I can see, that are tangible. I like things that are quantifiable, that I can see, I can touch, that there's proof. And faith is the complete antithesis of all of that. And it's hard. And it doesn't make any sense. You know, faith doesn't make any sense. But, you know, you can choose to do things that don't make sense. I mean, I guess technically we all choose to do something that doesn't make sense every single day. And faith is a choice. Like, you choose to have faith, even despite not having any evidence, or despite contrary evidence sometimes even. But you choose to have faith. But see, there's like the part of my brain that's itching because I'm like, well, then isn't that just you being delusional? So see, I don't know. I think what I'm trying to say is I want to give being spiritual a try. But it's just hard because it just goes against my brain. But it is a choice. Like, you do choose it. It's just the question right now is, will I choose it? Knowing myself, I don't think I will, but I'll try. Number 18, you are not your first thought. You are your second thought. So what that basically means is your first thought is whatever. For example, like if you have the tendency to discriminate, or if you have the tendency to be judgmental, or, you know, whatever. Your first thought is your monkey brain, right? Your first thought is whatever your monkey brain thinks of. But your second thought is the one that determines who you are. 19. Yeah, I need to go back and forth with you about this one. You know what's something really shitty that I've had to reconcile with? Unfortunately for most of us, I wouldn't say all of us, but definitely for most of us, hidup tuh akan susah banget dan akan selalu susah tanpa dukungan orang tua. And that really fucking sucks, but that's something that I had to learn through experience, but I've also just noticed that from other people as well. And I don't think that the solution is therefore for you to just, constantly mengalah to your parents and just do whatever your parents want. Because, I mean, people can disagree with me, but your parents don't always know better, right? That's not the solution. The solution is for both parents and children to meet in the middle and to come up with a compromise where all parties can move forward together. I'm no stranger to having a tumultuous relationship with my mother. And I've gone through years where I was just constantly going against the grain when it comes to what she wanted and what she expected of me. And even at some points, deliberately going against her just to spite her. Yes, I'm that petty. It was not a good time. And like, you know, look, you can make the argument that maybe it wasn't a good time and that my life at that time was stagnant, or actually even in some moments deteriorating in quality, and that overall I was going through a shit time because of other factors. I mean, yeah, of course, like, there's that possibility, but in large part it really was, if I'm really being honest with myself, the unproductivity of just constantly bashing heads and horns with my mother all the time, especially because in my case I live with her, right? Which I feel like most people do. Barring if you are married, so I guess that adds another extra layer to it. And I don't know, my mom keeps talking about how doa orang tua itu paling penting. Kalau orang tuanya doain itu pasti apa Tuhan tuh kabulin, or whatever the hell like that. I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't agree or disagree, but I just don't know. But tying it to the next lesson, learn to differentiate between a bad parent and a difficult parent, right? Some parents are bad parents. Like just genuinely like bad fucking durhaka ass shit. Like they should have never became parents. And then other parents are not bad parents, but they're just difficult. And for a really long time, I didn't know how to differentiate that when it comes to my mom. And my mother is not a perfect person. She's not a perfect parent. I don't think any parent or person is. And there's still a lot of grievances that I still have with my mother, and like the way that she's treated me, still treats me. And, there's a lot of hurt that I harbor and resentment that I harbor still. And all of that is completely valid. But even when my mom can do bad things, that still doesn't mean that she is a bad parent. I don't know. Right now, where I'm at, and I'm having a good day, like I'm not mad at my mom, because some days I'm mad at my mom. And so I think I'm able to be more objective today when it comes to her, is that she's not a bad parent. She's just an extremely difficult parent. And as long as you don't have a bad parent, you owe it to your parents and yourself, especially your future self, to try and reconcile with them and to meet them halfway. Jarang banget orang tuh bisa sukses tanpa dukungan orang tua. Number 21. Number 21, controversial. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm actually really glad that I had a whole face. I'm really glad that I had a whole face. Cause I'm at that age, man. I'm at that age where I know people that have gotten married. They're like years into their marriage. I even know people that got married really young, too young even. And I'm really glad that I had a whole face, because I got to do everything and everyone that I wanted. And just get that out of my system during a time where it was more okay for me to be irresponsible and reckless. Not too irresponsible and reckless, like I was still using protection and, like getting tested and, the whole nine of responsible sexual activity. But as in to say, like, I wasn't married, like I didn't have a responsibility to a family or, or to a boyfriend or a husband. And I was young and just like, still in that phase where you're reckless and you're just being careless in life. And just experiencing things for the sake of experiencing things. And I've always naturally been a very curious person, especially sexually curious. And I got to do, actually, like, I still haven't done the gangbang. I still haven't done the threesome yet. But I've done most things. I've done enough where it's like now I'm 27 to going 28. And I'm ready to be in a long-term committed relationship with just one person without having any regrets looking back of like, I wish I dated more people, or I wish I got to experience this, or I wish I did that. So I've already done it. And I don't have any resentment towards having to commit too early, because I've talked to people, and that's something that behind closed doors a lot of people people talk about. They're like, I got married to my husband at the age of 21. I mean, what have you experienced in life at the age of 21, you know? And so it's like, yeah, I got married at the age of 21 and he was like my first or second boyfriend, and then we got married, and just I've never really done things like in general, but especially sexually, you know? And like a lot of people behind closed doors also, they don't know what they want in bed, or they know what they want in bed, but they know they can't ask that of their spouses. I'm satisfied. Yeah. And the whole phase was fun. You know, the whole phase was fun while it lasted. But by the time I hit 25, I was just like, I'm tired of being a hoe. I want a man to hold me. Yeah. You've never done anything sexual with a woman, have you?
Never.
Okay. Yeah, you a virgin.
Yeah.
It's okay that you're a virgin. That's okay. Okay, number 22. This one is very straightforward. If you don't want to be a loser, don't hang out with losers. Like, you know the saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. If you want to be smart, you got to hang out with people that are smarter than you. If you want to be rich, you got to hang out with people that are richer than you. If you hanging out with losers, why are you surprised that you are a loser? One of the things that comes with you becoming an adult and taking charge and responsibility of your life is having to cut out certain people that are currently in your life that you know just are not at all productive, and they don't even bring out the best version of you. Oh, and okay, you know what? Some people might be asking, but Indah, how do you define a loser? What is a loser? This is going to make me sound really mean. Zero ambition. Don't know what the hell they are doing with themselves. Just engages in unproductive or even harmful activities. There's some level of subjectivity to that. But if all you are doing, like I'm so sorry, I know certain people, like all they do is just smoke all day, eat junk food, play video games, or watch television. Like they just apa yang penting nongkrong lah sama teman-teman kayak gitu, padahal gabut ya, gaji buta kayak gitu. Gaji buta means like you don't have anything to do, right? Yeah, and like being complacent in the fact that you are gabut and like, you know, you just that is a loser. You know? You got to stay away from people like those. Really evaluate the people that you're surrounding yourself with. Because I'll tell you right now, like the people that I'm surrounding myself with currently, the people that I got in my life right now, they bring out the best in me. They push me forward. And they make me feel light. They make me feel good. They make me feel welcome. They make me feel just like I got it. Like, you know, like I got this. Like I can do this, you know? Okay. Number 23. This is something recent. And if you watch my episode with Gabby, this is where I got this from. You know what? Like, Gabby is not lying. She is not wrong. When you look good, it's not just for yourself. You are looking good for other people. That doesn't mean that I look good right now or whenever else that I choose to look good because you want to impress people. You want to get validation from people. It doesn't mean like that. But when you look good, actually, like and this is even before the episode with Gabby, this is something that I learned because of a certain experience that I have that I can't share just yet because of the NDA. But when I was going through that, I realized that, yeah, actually, all these people around me, like they put in so much effort into looking good. And, you know, on the surface and prior, like I would have thought that that's just vanity, that is superficiality, like this need. What I interpret as like, oh, these people feel the need to always look good because they're insecure with themselves. Meanwhile, I'm not insecure. I'm very comfortable looking like a bum in front of the camera, and y'all know that, right? But what I didn't consider is that, like it is also, I think especially in certain cultures like here in Indonesia, looking good is a sign of respect for other people. Pakai bajunya yang rapi, wangi, ya. Pakai baju rapi, wangi, penampilannya bagus, enak dilihat di mata. Tuh kan yang ngeliat tuh bukan matanya kamu ya, mata orang lain gitu loh. And perhaps that sounds vain, that maybe it is a little bit vain and superficial. Yeah, sure, but it's like, but I feel like that's a good point. Yeah, I feel like that's a good point. I still stand by what I said in that episode of like, when you look good, like it's also, part utilitarian, part choice. Because look, I don't have it in me to look good every single day. I don't have it in me to do my makeup every single day, right? So much of it is also tau situasi lah, like like tune your fashion and your makeup or whatever your appearance to the situation. Like there's an amalgam of all of these different factors like going on together, but I am saying one factor is that a way for you to also signal your respect to other people is to also give them your time and energy for you to look good for them. And that's just a new perspective that I've more recently had. Yeah. Anyways, next, number 24. Controversial, perhaps. Do not ever lend other people money above here in Indonesia, and especially if you are in Jakarta or Surabaya, I would say 2 million, even if they're your family. See, I realize that in Indonesia, it is a cultural thing where family needs to be okay with lending family money. That's the shit that be keeping people poor. I'm so sorry. You can get mad at me all you want for how shitty that sounds, but that is the truth. And look, this is a huge generalization for the most part. Like, assess every situation accordingly because not everybody is the same. But I will say in general, number one, and I've experienced this before, you lend certain people, I say most people, you lend a person money once, they're going to be comfortable coming back to you borrowing money again and again and again. And if they're borrowing money from you that one time, most likely, most of the time, it's not going to be their last time borrowing money from you or from anybody. They're going to have to keep borrowing money again and again, because the fact that they're even having to borrow money in the first place, not always, I understand. But for some people, and I've met these people before, it is indicative of their lack of financial management skills or indicative of symptomatic of other things, like a plethora of other things. And I will like to acknowledge that as somebody who was born into wealth, like I am exercising a level of tahu diriness when it comes to me saying this. When it comes to wealth, you need the pressure, you need the fire of urgency under your ass in order to keep pushing you forward. And what people don't realize is that when you enable a culture whereby, okay, well, if I need money, like I can just go to my neighbor or I can just go to my brother or my sister or my cousin and borrow money, that puts out that fire. Even if you don't realize it, what that is actually doing is that it is demotivating you. It is also doing a disservice to you. And look, like, yeah, that's very privileged of me to say, yes, it is. And it's very unfair. But at the same time, like, we can debate how true, how false this is, but there is a grain of truth somewhere in there, at the very least. And we also have to acknowledge that Indonesian society is way too comfortable, I think, in borrowing money and lending money. We cannot be doing that. Have you ever met the people? You know what young Lex told me? There are people in Indonesia that have the ability to work. They are offered jobs, or they could be offered jobs if they would just apply to jobs, but they choose not to. And so I asked young Lex, I was like, then how do these people get by? These people just keep borrowing money from their neighbors or their siblings or their, I don't know, whoever, friends.
And use that money for gambling.
And then, use that money for gambling, fucking God knows what. Just no. Don't. point being, don't lend money, don't borrow. Look, I that's unfair for me to say because I've never been in a position where I've had to borrow money. Look, I understand. But just I'd be careful about lending other people money above 2 million. Under 2 million, nggak apa-apa lah. Like under 2 million, because here's the thing: under 2 million, it's very very likely that they're gonna be able to pay it off. And if they don't, 2 million, I think it's like, yeah, it's a lot, but ya udahlah kayak gitu. Kalau hilang, ya udahlah. Actually, yeah, you know what y'all should do? Y'all should DM me about this, cause I don't know. What do you think about lending money? Because I've had people, acquaintances and friends, you know, like they like, hey, could I borrow some money? And dude, I'm telling you, it feels really fucking shit for me to say no because it's not that. Well, there was one time where I actually did want to like give her money because she needed it, and I was fine because I trusted her. And I knew that she was going to get the money back and pay me back. It's just I didn't have that money at that time. But other than that, like I've had other people like ask me for money, like to borrow money. And trust me, it feels really shit. Like, and I wish there's other things that I can do to help, but I know that me giving you the money is not going to help you either. And there's even like, dude, like with some people, I don't even trust that they can give me back the money. Yes, you can have like one or two exceptions in individuals. Like there are individuals. I have this one friend. Like if she wanted to borrow 2M from me, aku nggak apa-apa. Like I'm serious. Like if she wanted to borrow duit M-an kayak gitu nggak apa-apa. Like because that her, I know, you know.
And you trust.
Yes, and I trust. There are certain individuals. Most people, I'm talking 99% of people. I am not lending you money.
Me too.
I am not lending you money. It is not. It puts me in a predicament. And it's not even helpful for you. But have you ever been in a position where you borrowed money? Gak sampai di atas 2 juta kayak gitu kan? What would you say is the ethics of borrowing money? As somebody who's borrowed money before. I've never borrowed money. Kecuali beda. Misalnya pernah I borrowed 50K to buy a drink because my card wasn't working. Nah itu beda lah kayaknya. I think if you borrow money for food, that's fine. Itu kan kecil-kecil.
Yeah.
Kayak gitu lah.
Only for that.
Oh yeah, you borrow money for food.
Yeah.
Oh ya udah, no beda lah. Maksudnya kayak borrow money to pay rent misalnya, borrow money to pay bills, enggak ya? 25. Sitting in silence is a lot harder than you think, and if you can sit in silence, I believe you can do anything. I do not like silence. That's why I talk a lot. I don't like silence. Sitting in silence is hard. Like I can't even just sit on the toilet without, this is giving away way too much about me. I can't even sit on the toilet in like peace and quiet. I don't like peace and quiet. I need stimulation. Maybe it's a generational thing because I'm 97, right? So Gen Z grow up on social media, constant stimulation all the time. So maybe it's also just a habit thing. But once you learn how to be at peace with just yourself in solitude, you can do things. You can do anything. I look at the older generation, like my mom, for example, like they can just sit there hours, just quiet, diem aja kayak gitu. And the older generation, like there's a lot that I respect, especially in particular, just like discipline, hard work, and like resilience. Kayak gitu. I don't know. I feel like our generation is not as resilient in some ways compared to like our elders. Kayak gitu. Again, we don't have 28 on the list. We only have like 25. So just pretend that I gave you 28. Yeah. By the time y'all watch this, I'll be 28. 28 and just getting started. Ha ha! That's it. Ya udah lah ya. Alright, bye.